Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown! Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions. How about those Chiefs?
Hey, welcome to the Kingdom Korner podcast. We're your host. I'm Andrew. That's Dale. We're here bringing you the newest episode of the Kingdom Korner. We're jumping into the AFC Championship game and nothing else today. So, going to be going over lots of facts and trends and stats and whatever else we seem to come up with at the moment. So, that's just
there you go.
How we roll. We're having fun doing it. Hope you're enjoying the ride with us. But let's jump into this. Dale, how you feeling about this AFC Championship?
Man, happy Red Friday to you first. And,
that's all right.
This could possibly be the last Red Friday of the year, right? For the season.
Well, I hope it's not. I hope we have at least one more.
I'm just saying. I mean, we could have two more. That's crazy to think. Two more potential. Two more, or one more after this today. So that's crazy to think about. Red Friday.
Hoping for more.
Yeah. How are you feeling about the game?
I'm feeling a lot more confident now than I was earlier in the week. Simply seeing some of those videos of Mahomes. I know we're not seeing a whole lot of him doing much in these videos, but we're seeing him jog a little bit, stretch a little bit. Seems to be walking without a limp. So I don't know. It seems like it's trending in the right direction. That's for sure.
Yeah. I asked you, I remember we were on the phone. I asked you, hey, what percentages of Mahomes have to be to win this game? And without hesitation, you said 80%. And so I think he's there. I think he might, by the looks of it, he's there, I would say. And so I think it's going to be bothering him. I think it's going to be hard to turn whichever direction. Like, he can't. I don't think it'll be hard for him to plant that foot and make a 180 or something like that. And so I think he'll be limited in those things. But it's encouraging to know that 1-5 is going to be in there slinging the ball around. So.
Yes, it is. And not to get too much off into the weeds here, but there's been a lot of Bengals fans in particular who've been saying that Mahomes faked his injury. And I'm thinking, why would you fake an injury and then not play the game for a quarter because you're in the locker room? It's just a silly narrative. There's no truth to it at all. But, sometimes I guess fans just look for whatever. So, but talking about fans and all the chirping back and forth. So there's been some chirping from the Bengals to start with. And, they called Arrowhead Burrowhead. Earlier in the year, Joe Mixon even said that they were the big dogs in the AFC. And they just keep piling stuff on. So the Chiefs have a lot of bulletin board material.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs hadn't really said much. And then yesterday, there's a bunch of stuff that kind of blew up a little bit. Honestly, I think it's nothing. I think it's hardly anything there, and they're trying to pull things out of it, but we can address it because it's what was said. So a reporter asked Mr. Willie Gay what he thought of the Bengals offense. And he said, what impresses you about the Bengals offense? He just said nothing. And that's all. And he's just trying to move on and so forth. And you watch that whole interview, they even asked him about the comments of Burrowhead, and he just said, hey, I'm just here to play football. It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
And then they said that question, he said nothing, and that just kind of blew up. I'm like, this guy's just trying to avoid all conflict, and you made something out of nothing. Yep. And then the Chiefs waived Lamons, that cornerback that was good special teamers for us, and the Bengals actually picked him up, and they can't actually use him or put him on the team until after the Super Bowl, so it was an interesting move by them at this point in the season. Do you think there's anything in that, or you think people might be looking a little too much into that too?
There's always probably something in there. I'm sure a coach has reached out and started talking to him. He may not be, and that's what I would think. But again, if you get, I think Lamont, he should be careful because he gets labeled as this guy that just shares whatever, no loyalty. Where's the loyalty at? Kingdom, come on. Where's the Chiefs' kingdom? You got to give a little loyalty to us here.
Well, you could almost say the same thing about Sammy Watkins. You remember the first year he left, he went to the Ravens, and Orlando Brown came over to the Chiefs, and Chiefs and Ravens were playing that first year, and somebody asked Orlando Brown just in questions like, hey, you're going to help the Chiefs out anyways? Like, hey, I'm not going to share any secrets of the Ravens. That's their business. And they asked basically Sammy Watkins the same question. He said, I'm going to give them whatever info they need. And
Yeah.
there's two very different approaches. And I'm not saying
I
Lamont
would
is
just think
either
like,
way.
hey, I'm
Yeah,
here.
I mean, Lamont is a great special teamer. Had a lot of big tackles on kick returns and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much he's really going to
And I think that would probably make me mad as a player. Said, did you get me because of how I play? Or did you get me because you thought I was going to give you information? I think I would take offense to that. Like, oh, you just picked me up so you can get information. You don't really want me. So you're going to cut me here. And so I would be very frustrated with that.
I would be too in that same situation. And maybe they really do want him because they can't use him this year. So who knows? And if they do, credit to him for getting picked up, right? And then
for sure.
I bring that up to say the other controversial thing, which is even less controversial than the Willie Gay comment, all the teams and the coordinators and coaches for the Chiefs were at the podium. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. Anyways, they asked Dave Tobe, the special teams coach, about that exact transaction. So what do you think about Lamont's getting picked up by the Bengals? Right? And he just basically said, well, he has made a lot of big plays for us. We're going to miss him. He said, hey, Brett Veach, I trust him. He has a plan. And, he said, I don't know if his plan was put on there and hopefully pick him back up later to make a certain roster move. He said, but it didn't work out, but credit to Lamont for, all of his hard work. We're appreciative for everything done. And people are saying that, well, Dave Tobe just threw Veach under the bus. I said, what are you talking about? I said, he's just
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he's commenting on the very question he was asked, and nothing he said was controversial. Nothing. To say, well, Brett Veach tried this, and I trust him, and, maybe it didn't work out like we wanted, but, we appreciate all of his Lamont's work. There's nothing there. So I bring all that just to clarify these things for the people who are wondering what's going on. Nothing is going on. There's no controversy. There's nothing going on with the Chiefs. People are making something out of nothing because the Bengals have said things that are controversial, like Burrow had, like they are the big dogs in the AFC.
Right.
Those are controversial things, and I think they're just digging for things to try to make it look like a back and forth thing when it's really not.
Yeah. And I think now Jamar Chase and Burrow are actually kind of being quiet.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with Jamar Chase where hey, listen, we're still chasing the Chiefs. They're the top dog. We're trying to overtake the throne, and we have to do that going through Arrowhead. And so, I think that those are good. But, we've talked about Eli Apple. He probably should just, someone should take his phone away and someone should not put a microphone in front of that guy's face. He's not good enough to do that. So
the problem is most of his controversial things are not done in front of a microphone. They're done on Twitter. And it's just, it's a bad look for him, man. It really is. And it's like one thing I've heard many other sports commentators talk about before too, is you can talk if you want to, but your play has to be able to back it up.
Yeah.
Right. And we probably addressed that at one point too. And I'm not saying Eli Apple is awful, but he is not the elite player that he's talking it up to be.
Well, he was the guy last year that said, hey, I'll leave Super Bowl tickets for you, Tyreek. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah. He's the guy that has always been a chirpy guy and if you watch that Super Bowl last year, he got burned over and over and over again.
Right.
And Chiefs fans love to see it. And I think most fans of any team that played against it love to see it because he talks to every team he plays. And it's not a good look for him. That's for sure. So I did hear this week too that Patrick Mahomes had actually reached out to Tom Brady for some advice.
I heard that.
Did you see that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's like, man, this guy, he's been in the AFC Championship many times, he's won multiple Super Bowls. Like, I'm going to take any advice somebody like that is willing to give me. So,
from the GOAT, he said. From the GOAT.
Yeah, from the GOAT. Yeah. So, if a guy with that much experience is willing to give you advice on how to prepare and be in the moment for those big games, take what you can get, right?
Bingo.
So, we're hoping that the GOAT changes at some point in history with Mahomes. So here's a question for you. How many Super Bowls realistically do you think Mahomes can win?
Whew. I think
I'll say this. I'd love to say that he's going to beat Tom Brady's record, but that's hard to do. And especially since we don't play in the AFC least, or I'm sorry, AFC East.
You got to think when Tom Brady was making his run. Now he did win a couple late, so I want to give him credit there. Yeah. When he was making his run, it was Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Big Ben. That
Yeah.
was about it, you know. And then you had in the NFC, you had Aaron Rodgers, Russ Wilson. You know, you had a couple other players on the other side, but for the most part, he could get to the chance. I mean, it was just magical what they did, and so and then there wasn't a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Now you got Burrow, Allen, Lamar. I know you're not big on Lamar. Justin Herbert, you know, and you
Yeah.
got all these young kids that are coming up and ready. I mean, you got Trevor Lawrence. You got to say he's in that mix.
Yeah.
So you got like 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks that are. Now I think a lot of it has to do with the GM. So that's where I was kind of going with it. Where Mahomes, I think a lot is going to depend on Brett Veach and Andy Reid and the people that get
Yeah.
around him. And so, yeah, I think realistically, I'd like to see him win 5 just to beat, you know, some of those guys at 4. But I think I'd be happy with 3 or 4 championships, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you would have asked us 10 years ago, we would have been happy with 1, right?
Yeah.
Before we even had Mahomes or
Oh,
thought
yeah,
of having a quarterback like, you know, if we just had 1, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And so glad to have that one in our lifetime.
Does he win 2 more?
You know, I'm kind of like you. I love to see him win 5. I don't think he will. I think he'll have at least 3.
At least 3, okay.
Realistically, so that's 2 more. So, and you know what? I think he does have the ability to win more. But as we've just discussed before, no matter how great you are, how great your team are, it is hard to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know,
And
it's
I think
hard just to get there, and so it's a lot of pressure and a lot of work just to win 1. So
yeah. And I think also winning more than 2 would be good because then he would separate himself from Peyton Manning. He would separate himself from like guys like I guess Drew Brees only has 1, but he would separate himself. Aaron Rodgers, he would separate. You know, like well, he's got more hardware, and so yeah, I think it would be good for him to separate himself. So I heard an interesting take this week, and this kind of goes along with the Super Bowl conversation. I think. What would you say if the Chiefs? What I told you, the Chiefs are in a rebuild this year.
I would say that most people thought that before the season started.
Right.
And
so this is the Chiefs, and like if you look at it, like a whole new wide receiver room minus McCole Hardman.
Yeah, who's basically been out all the year.
He's been hurt most of the year, and then you have a whole new defense basically besides the line.
Yeah,
and the 2 linebackers. So if this is a rebuild year for the Chiefs, and they're in the AFC Championship,
all we have to say the rest of the league is good luck.
Good luck. Because I think
if you can't beat Mahomes and knock him off his throne in his rebuild year, you're probably not going to many other years either.
Yeah. And then I heard something interesting, too, about the Buffalo Bills, because I guess Brandon Beane went on to TV and started making a bunch of excuses of why they lost.
Yeah.
Because he says, well, it's easier for the Bengals to win because they got a rookie quarterback, blah, 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 all this other stuff. But I guess Josh Allen's getting paid $60 million next year is going against the cap. Diggs' cap hit's going to be double, and then Von Miller's cap hit's going to be triple. And Jordan Poyer is going to be a free agent. And what are you going to do with him?
Yeah, so the Buffalo Bills have a lot to figure out with their cap situation. They're basically over the cap before the season even starts. And so if they want to continue to be contenders, they're going to have some guys willing to restructure their deals or bring in guys that are willing to take less pay to potentially win a championship.
So, I just thought that was interesting. And then, like LA Chargers, they went all in. The Raiders, all in. Broncos, all in. And here, King Mahomes is still on top.
That's right. And we said this before the season started, but don't knock somebody off their throne until you've seen a proven product, right? You can't knock the reigning AFC West champion or, even the AFC champion or contender to be the champion, second place one, whichever one you want to call it. You can't knock that kind of team off the throne until you've seen a product from these other teams that say they're going to compete and beat the Chiefs. So that's crazy.
That's wild. And so this thing, like, man, they could just, wow. Here we go. Let's go, boys. So maybe 5 isn't crazy.
Maybe not. So you know what? if he got 5, I would be perfectly happy and satisfied with it. Honestly, I thought I'd be satisfied with 1, and I am. So, but each one more that they win,
but when did Aaron
that
Donald,
much more satisfaction?
what did Aaron Donald say? He said, I got addicted to the confetti.
Yeah.
I think I kind of got addicted to the confetti, right? And so,
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's some other stats for you. So we talked about Mahomes' injury slightly, and and I agree with you. He's going to be close to 100%. He's not going to be even 90%, I don't think. Maybe 70, 80%, somewhere around there. He's not going to be able to make some of the twist and turn moves like he had, but hopefully he'll still be able to move and get out of the pocket and scramble a little bit, even if it's not quite to the effectiveness as he has before, just because that's so much a part of this game. But even if he's not, here's some stats for you about Mahomes if he has to stay inside the pocket. So this year alone, so inside the pocket this year, his NFL ranking QBR inside the pocket first. Touchdowns inside the pocket among the NFL this year first. Touchdown percentage inside the pocket in the NFL this year first. First down percentage inside the pocket this year first. So even if, and those includes the playoff numbers from the first game, but even if Mahomes has to stay in the pocket a little more, we shouldn't be that worried about it as long as the Chiefs offensive line can step up their game like they did in the later half against the Jaguars.
Well, there you go. Hey, man, you just gave me a bunch of stats for my crazy take last time about how the offensive line may be better when he stays in the pocket.
Okay. I don't know if I'd necessarily always put that on.
You just helped me. You came to the dark side. I love it.
I don't think I'd say I came to the dark side. I gave you some stats. That doesn't necessarily mean I believe in the Chiefs offensive line.
You don't believe in math? You don't believe in numbers?
You know what? Let me tell you this, Dale. I believe in numbers, but I also believe in the product on the field, and the product on the field doesn't always result to these same numbers.
Right.
And I'm not saying all of the offensive line. I'm saying one or maybe two in particular. One for sure.
Don't talk about Trey Smith like that.
You know I'm not talking about Trey Smith. Trey Smith is probably my favorite non-skill player. So,
oh yeah, he's great.
Trey Smith is fantastic. Fantastic. I love watching that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would hate to see him on another team. So.
Oh, for sure. So.
But the other thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll go ahead. All right. The other so with that offensive line, we're talking about that offensive line and just how important it is. I mean, I think they get Cincinnati will get pressure on you, and they do a great job of containment on the quarterback. But I think they were 29th in sacks this year, and I don't know. You may have that stat, but I forget who I was listening to or watching. But I think he said, the Cincinnati Bengals are very low in the sack category, so they get pressure, but they don't get the tackles.
Yeah, I don't know what they are ranked, but that sounds familiar. So
yeah,
I'll believe you.
All right, we got one.
Yeah. All right. So here's some other things too. Just let's see. Let's jump into the Chiefs and the Bengals matchup. So as we've discussed before, the Bengals are 3-0 against the Chiefs in basically the last year.
Man.
And so as Chiefs fans and as Chiefs players, I'm sure too, that just kind of eats at us. And it's kind of the monkey on your back until you get it off. And so, but here's some stats on those 3 wins, right? So all of those games have been by 3 points, every single one. The Chiefs have led in every single one of those games as well. And 2 of those games were in Cincinnati, and 1 game was in Arrowhead, the playoff game last year that went to overtime.
Right.
And in that game, the Chiefs offense just kind of crumbled in the second half. They should have won that one. But either way, here's some stats about these 3 games. In each of these games, the Chiefs have led by 18, 14, and 7 points. So multiple games had at least a double-digit lead. In each of those games, they never trailed entering the fourth quarter. In each of these games, they trailed for an average of only 15 minutes. So, about 1 quarter.
Whew.
And on average, they've trailed only about 8 minutes in the second half. So all that to say, the Chiefs are not near as big of an underdog as people have made them out.
Oh, yeah.
If you listen to any media this week, you know that the Chiefs are basically being saying and being told, you have no chance to win this game. Good luck.
None.
And the stats, as you point out, don't you believe in stats and numbers? The stats and numbers would prove otherwise, that the Chiefs do, in fact, hang in there with the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, you got to think. Didn't the game this year go into overtime? And did it go into overtime? No.
No,
It
the
didn't go into
regular season
overtime.
game did not. If you
Yeah,
recall,
but you had a Harrison Butker miss field
yeah,
goal,
which
and
would have sent it into overtime.
you had a big Travis Kelce fumble in the fourth quarter late, where they looked like they were driving down the field to take control of the game. And again, I know Travis Kelce knows what he did. He's not going to fumble that ball.
No. And you don't blame Travis Kelce. It's fourth
No,
quarter.
he's making
You're
a
a
play.
little bit behind. You're trying to make a play like you always do. And
Yeah,
I want
can't
him
get
trying
mad
to make
at him.
that play every time. No. He's made so many big plays for us. You can't get mad at him for that. That's for sure.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So the Chiefs and Bengals, they opened up that game with the Bengals actually being favored as much as 2.5 points. And maybe it's because the videos came out. Maybe it's the money being put down.
Yeah.
Maybe what we'd call smart money, right?
Oh,
Now on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are now back to being favored by a point. So the line has shifted quite a bit just in these last few days.
yeah, it's unbelievable. I don't think ever since my app has the sports gambling, I've never seen the line move so much for a game in so few days.
Yeah. Seems like every day is changing at least a half a point.
Yeah, so half a point, the Chiefs are favored by a point.
Yeah. That's quite a few. So, and just a fun stat to throw out talking about being 3-0. If 3-0 is what makes somebody greater than somebody else, if Joe Burrow, if being 3-0 against Mahomes makes him greater, well, then we also have to say that Baker Mayfield is greater than Joe Burrow because Baker Mayfield is 3-0 against Joe Burrow. So, just a fun fact. Yeah. So, shout out to Baker Mayfield.
Oh, you guys don't know how much that pains Andrew to say that, even though I know he's joking. But still, it pains him to be able to say Baker Mayfield's better than Joe Burrow.
It pays me to say he's much better than anybody. So let's be honest.
But that's a great point. I like the point. That's a good point. Let's call up Cowherd and tell him, well, Mayfield's better than Burrow. You got to say it. You had to say it on your show. He's beat him 3 times in a row.
That's right. Might as well. Let's bring Baker Mayfield on the show and get his perspective. So maybe he can teach us some points. So,
there you go. I think, And what do you think, what do you think about our quarterback buying into the TB12 method? Think he's doing some Pilates and all that with Tom Brady now? He's going to do some resistance training?
I doubt it. My guess is it's more so the mental preparation aspect.
Okay, all right.
So I think Mahomes, if he can recover from a high ankle sprain this quickly, I think whatever he's doing physically is good to go. And plus, this late in the year, you don't want to change up what you're doing to prepare physically.
Well, did you hear what Eric?
I think it's more the mental aspect.
Did you hear what Eric Bieniemy said?
No, what did he say?
He said, "I don't know how he's recovered so fast, but whatever he has, I'll take some of it."
Yeah, me too. Me too.
There you go. So, are you changing your score prediction? You changing your feelings? You were like 30-27. Is that right?
That's right. I said it's going to be 30-27. I might change it a little bit, but I'm not going to change it much. I would still feel confident in the 30-27. I still think the Chiefs will win, but I still think it'll be a close game. I would love the Chiefs to have a 3-score victory, but I just don't see that happening. If I change it all, it'd be like 30-24. So
okay, there you go. The only thing that makes me nervous about the game or my score is because it's going to be in the teens and it's going to get colder and colder as the game on. So sometimes that ball gets real hard to catch, which I think it favors the Chiefs. I think where you have tight ends like Noah Gray, Bell, and Kelce, I think Jody Forson is going to be on the field Sunday. So I think that helps those short passes, but we'll see. I think I'm changing my score 30-20. The Chiefs.
All right, 10-point game here.
I think we're going 2-score win. I don't think it's ever going to be in question. I think maybe the Bengals get a late touchdown to make it look reasonable, but I think it's going to be the same kind of thing where the Bengals and Bills. I don't think the Bills had a very good game plan coming into that game. They just looked flat. If you remember watching that game, they just looked flat, like not on the same page or just like one step slow on what they were trying to do. And so I just don't think that's the Chiefs. If they do, it'll be the first 5 minutes of the first quarter, and then they'll wake up and do what they did to the Texans 3 years ago.
Yeah, and
a 51-7 run.
Yeah, and in that Bills and Bengals game this last week, the Bengals dominated the line on both the offense and defensive side. The Bills basically had no shot. I don't want to say no shot. They had very little chance to win that game when they kept losing all those battles inside. If you lose those battles inside and you can't pass protect or block for the run, it makes it for a very long day, which is what happened to the Bills.
I think what the interior of the line is the part that's hurt, right? Is that who's hurt? The interior part of the line, I think, for the Bengals. And so with Chris Jones being up there in the middle, it's gonna be, and they're gonna have to double team them.
The problem is they have 3 people injured, both their tackles and a guard. So
both their tackles and a guard. So not the interior.
So I don't know. They're not trend so far this week. They have not practiced, which doesn't bode well for them trending towards playing.
Right, because they haven't played in a couple weeks now. Yeah.
So here's another stat for you, though. The Bengals are 0-3 this year when Joe Burrow was sacked 5 or more times. And the defense has 6 games this year with 5 or more sacks. So, and one of those games, or some of those games include the 49ers, Jaguars, Chargers, and even the Broncos. So even against some good offensive lines, the Chiefs have put up big numbers and sacks. Right. So, if the Chiefs can maintain that would be a great thing to do. And obviously get 5 or more sacks. The numbers say you should probably win that game.
And I think it's the 5 more sacks. I think the only way we get to 5 more sacks is if we take a lead. Early. And maybe like a 10-point lead or a 9-point lead or whatever it would be, but just a lead where they feel like, oh man, they're feeling the pressure and they make them one-dimensional. You have to make them one-dimensional where they're gonna either throw the ball, just take Mixon out of the equation, no run defense needed because they're not gonna run, and man, just pin those ears back. Chris Jones, get after it. Let's get your first sack in the playoffs this year. Come on, let's get it.
And let's point out too. You said first sack, and that's true. He's yet to have a postseason sack. But let's not make any bones about it. Like, he has still been dominant in the postseason.
No. I'm
in the Super Bowl.
I just want to get his first sack. I'm not Chris Jones.
I'm not saying you are, but I just want to make that clear for those who are listening that we love Chris Jones and we're not throwing shade at him. We are cheering him on. So
yes, we want his first sack in Arrowhead. Burrow, just his face in the mud. And man, let's get Frank Clark. Let's move him up on that chart of the sacks in the playoffs. I mean, it's crazy to think he's number 4 all time. Number 4 all time.
Yeah,
in
that's
the playoff
crazy.
Sacks. So that's crazy.
Well, I got 2 more stats for you about the Chiefs' pressure then too.
Okay.
I think they get more pressure than most people realize or give them credit for.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this first off. Joe Burrow, because his offensive line is hurt, has been getting the ball out really quick.
Right.
And so the Chiefs have got to move quick, and that probably helps our secondary more than anything because they don't have to cover for as long.
Yeah.
But it does make it much more difficult for that defensive line. But that being said, the Chiefs have 241 quarterback pressures this season. Only Dallas had more pressures than that.
Wow.
They contacted the quarterback 198 times. That led the NFL. And so we should not just assume that Cincinnati's O-line is going to hold up like it did against the Bills.
Right. Yeah. I think, much improved defensive line this year with Karlaftis and Frank Clark. He looked thin to you. Did he look thin? Did you watch the post game? He looks thin.
Who's that? Frank Clark?
Frank Clark.
He looks like he's
he looks good.
Well, if you remember, I believe it was before this season, maybe his last season, but he changed his workout and diet to try to trim up a little bit and get in better healthy shape. So
there you go. It's working.
I'll say whatever it is, it's working. That's for sure. All right, so a few other things here. Let's start with let's just look at the Chiefs' offense first, and then we'll look at a few Bengals things. But the Chiefs' offense and the Bengals' defense in the quick game, right? And so in passes that take less than 2.5 seconds, Mahomes, as far as percentage, has a 58% completion rate on quick passes, which is first in the league. The Bengals defense allows 55% of completions on that, which is second in the league. So, I mean, that's going to be a good matchup to watch on the quick game if Mahomes has to do that because of his ankle injury, to see which way that falls because both Mahomes and the Bengals are top in the game in that. So, Travis Kelce, though, as we all know, we love Travis Kelce.
Oh, yeah.
Travis Kelce led all tight ends in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving yards over expected from the slot this year. The Bengals, however, allowed the most targets, the most completions, and the most receiving yards to tight ends who are lined up in the slot this season. I like those numbers.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen Sunday, right?
Well, I'm not saying he's going to have the most yards in the game.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Bengals give up the most yards to tight ends lined up in the slot seems to work well for the Chiefs. So, and if not, as we've said before, some of these other guys have got to step up this game.
Oh, yeah.
Right? This is Juju's first AFC championship game. Many of these guys' first AFC championship
Well, he
game.
had kind of a quiet game last week, and we didn't talk about it. He just had a productive, quiet game.
Yeah, well, I think he had 2 receptions for like 29 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but those catches,
that was it. I thought I saw him having 3 catches or something where he had 3 like big catches. But maybe you're right. You're right.
He had 2 catches, but they were all really big catches in the game. So, yeah, just how it goes, I guess. So, Patrick Mahomes this year. So, in the divisional round against the Jaguars, here's his before and after his injury. So, before he got injured, he was taking a little over 3 seconds to throw the ball, 3.1 seconds. After his injury, he's taking 2.6 seconds. So knocked that down a lot. So his scramble yards or his drop back yards before a pass before the injury was 8 yards, after only 4 yards.
Okay.
The percentage of his time he was on the run before the injury, 41%. After the injury, 5%.
Wow.
So inside the tackle box, he was in it 50% of the time before the injury, almost 89% after the injury. And so obviously he made a point of staying in the pocket and was able to win that game. But if he had to stay in the pocket like that against the Bengals have a great pass rush. And so they're going to be pinning their ears back if they know that he can't run and scramble as much. So hopefully he's able to move at least a little bit.
Well, I think the offensive line will block for him.
Well,
I think they might be better. I think they might be better if he just stays still.
Okay, Dale. Okay, they're not going to be better if he just simply stands.
I think
still.
he led every category in the NFL first. That's what he kept saying. First.
Yeah, that doesn't mean the offensive line is great.
Okay, well,
so
he didn't have a pocket to throw from.
You know what? You can say all the stuff you want to, but that does not mean that the offensive line is the NFL leader.
I'm just saying, let's try it. Let's just try to stay in the pocket and see what happens.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not saying Mahomes is better at these statutes. I'm saying the offensive line is better.
So you think the offensive line is really better when Mahomes just stands still in the pocket?
Boom. Stand still. Let it go.
So do you think that Orlando Brown deserves his big paycheck then?
No, I never paid Orlando Brown.
Why?
But who knows?
Why he's better when Mahomes stands still? He's better.
Maybe
Why not pay him?
Maybe we should do a sample. Maybe we should do like 5 games and see. Mahomes, you can't move. You only move within the. You got to be like Tom Brady. Move within the pocket like Tom Brady. You can manipulate the pocket.
So you want Patrick Mahomes to be stationary?
No, I don't want it.
Oh, okay. Well, then, if that's not what you want, then why would you have an offensive line that can't protect to what you want?
I'm just saying they could be better.
They could be. Yeah. Every player in the NFL could be better. Every player in the NFL could be Patrick Mahomes, but they're not. There is only one Patrick Mahomes, and just like all these other things, every player, yes, could they be better? Maybe. But that's one of those things that you'll never know because some people just can't be better. They just can't. Some of them have just reached their peak, and that's just where they're stuck at.
Yeah. All right.
And once again, I'm not saying all the interior of the Chiefs' offensive line might be the best in the NFL. It's the tackles that I'm not sure about.
Oh, yeah. We need a new left and right tackle.
Yeah, well, this offseason, both tackles are going to be free agents unless, they re-sign or whatever. But
I think they can franchise tag Orlando Brown one more time.
All right. Well, they might do it. So we'll see what happens. So but there'll be some other big moves that have to figure out on the offensive line as well as some other players too. But we can talk more about that.
We can talk
in future
more about
episodes.
In the off season.
That's right.
So sad.
So it's going to be
So
good.
sad.
But hey, even if you're listening to this, keep following us even on Twitter throughout the off season because you never know when we might give things away, when we might just throw out some random stats or whatever. But I promise the Kingdom Korner is a great follow on Twitter.
Yes, it is. It is.
Not to shout ourselves out, but it's a good follow.
It's fun. You do a great job.
It is. So just Kingdom_Korner on Twitter and find us there. So find us there for our next giveaway, which will be coming up here pretty soon. So I'm not going to say quite what it is yet, but if you like the last one, you'll love this one. We'll put it that way.
All right.
Well, any last thoughts on this Chiefs-Bengals games coming up?
Can I win the prize?
No, you cannot win the prize.
Okay. All right.
You are ineligible to win.
Okay.
As am I. So.
All right. So that's how good it is, folks. That's how good it is.
It's true. So, it is good. You will like it.
So I'll be honest. Tuesday when we record our podcast, I was a little suspect. I was a little nervous for the Chiefs, but Friday at 10:45, I feel pretty good about the Chiefs' chance. I feel a lot better than I did Tuesday. So seeing Mahomes practice, seeing him move around on that ankle. If he was playing like he was playing in Jacksonville, there's no way we beat the Bengals, right? No way.
Yeah, I don't think so.
What the biggest thing, I guess, one last question, real quick. I don't know how much sports talk radio or TV you watch this week, but isn't it interesting? They didn't say if the Bengals beat Mahomes, it's kind of like an asterisk because he's hurt. It was always like if Burrow beats Mahomes, then Burrow's the best.
Yeah,
it was never like it was never like. And I thought that was strange because I think I remember when Tom Brady hurt his hand on Burkhardt, I think was like his helmet or something, like cut it open. Like they were like, well, he loses. I mean, he overcame a hand. So I think like if Mahomes wins the Super Bowl this year, which very well could happen, he's like,
hold on,
like.
Just knock on some wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. Not that we believe in jinxes. No, we don't believe in that.
We're not superstitious, just a little stitious.
This would be Mahomes' like flu game. Jordan.
Yeah.
This would be like a great performance by him in a sense like, oh my goodness, he's untouchable.
Yeah. And there's only one media member who always stands up for the Chiefs and Mahomes, and is a Kansas City guy, that Nick Wright.
Yeah, shout out Nick Wright.
That's right. Hey, Nick Wright, if you want to join this podcast, give us a shout out. We'll consider it. So.
We'll consider it. Yeah.
You're welcome anytime. So, but he kind of said the same thing or something similar to that I heard. But other than that, I've watched very few media outlets this week because I can only stand about 2 minutes of them. Because all of them are just dogging the Chiefs, and I agree. They're all just saying, well, if Burrow wins, then he's for sure the greatest, even though Mahomes is on one ankle, right? But they're still saying he's the greatest. Yeah. And to your point, if Mahomes wins, why wouldn't he be considered the greatest?
Right.
Why wouldn't he?
Right. Well, they would say, the Burrow did beat him 3 times. Well, okay. All right.
Yeah, but
that's what the narrative will be. Well, Burrow did beat him 3 times. Yeah.
But if that is the case, first off, we read off the stats earlier about those games. The Bengals were losing for the majority of all 3 of those games.
Oh, yeah.
The game this year, the Chiefs should have won. The game in the playoffs last year, the Chiefs should have won or could have won all of those.
Well, Mahomes had his worst half of football ever.
Yeah, in the playoffs last year.
In that playoffs last year in that AFC. He did not look himself. I don't know if it was because of that before halftime play. I don't know what it was, but he had the worst half of football he could ever have. And I think that really is on coaching more than Mahomes because you got to call a timeout and get your player right, do something.
Yeah, something like that. So, but I'll tell you this,
All right,
Chiefs
tell me.
have plenty of bulletin board material to be
Oh,
motivated
yeah.
this week. If they're not motivated this week, they're not motivated to be in the NFL.
Right. Well, they don't.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you need bulletin board material to be motivated. They don't need to be in the NFL. I mean, yeah,
that's true. I mean, this is the AFC Championship game. What
This
more
is it.
motivation could you want? You win
Right.
this, you go to the Super Bowl. If not, you're going home. There's
Let me say this.
no
Let me say this
next
real
week.
slow. 5th straight AFC Championship game in Arrowhead Stadium.
That's right.
5 years
That's
in
incredible.
a row.
It's incredible.
But hey, Burrow's better. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
He's never-
well, we'll see. If he's
Mahomes
so
is-
better, if he's so much better, why is he never hosting these things? That's what I want to know.
Well, Mahomes has never. How many road playoff games has Mahomes played? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess 1-0, but
Zero.
Zero.
Road playoff games. He has never played on the road in the playoffs.
I believe it. He's only played in one wild card playoff game, and
Yeah.
every other year he's had the bye. So it's incredible. It's incredible.
Incredible. Yeah.
So we're pumped to watch this game on Sunday. I'm much more confident now than I was earlier in the week, seeing Mahomes move a little bit. So it's going to be a great game either way. I think it'll be close, but I am confident that the Chiefs will show up and that they will be motivated to play hard and hopefully be able to get the win as well. We're predicting it. We're hoping for it. And as always, we're praying for it because, part of our rituals here is praying for the Chiefs' victory.
There you go. Pray for the Chiefs. There you go. Yeah.
That's right.
I don't think God cares who wins or lose, but I think he does care
about the Chiefs. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Amen. Amen.
That's
Preach.
right. That's right.
So,
well, thanks for joining us in this episode of the Kingdom Corner here with Dale and Andrew. This episode brought to you by Oh Hey Threads, where a portion of every purchase goes to support missionaries all over the world, one super soft tea at a time. We're glad you joined us this time. Join us next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.